All right, let's do almost like a history lesson type segment here. I have an example for you today of something that the modern Republican Party is now regularly engaging in that is indistinguishable from standard historical fascist propaganda. It checks all the boxes. Today, we're going to be comparing it specifically to Italian fascist propaganda during and in the pre-Mussolini era. It'll all make sense in a moment. Come along for the ride. We will start with radical pro-Trump Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene's new political advertisement. Apparently, she's running in 2022. We've been wondering how many of these Trumpists will run in 2022. If they run, how many of them are going to win? It's going to be a big piece of influencing whether or not Donald Trump runs in 2024. Marjorie Taylor Greene in her new ad says, I guess, if you reelect her, she's going to blow away the Democrats' socialist agenda. And then in the video, she actually blows up a car, a Prius, with socialism on it, with a 50 cal rifle that she is also auctioning off for people who contribute to her campaign. Like every aspect of this is just a dystopian fascist propaganda piece. Let's take a look at it. And then we are going to discuss. Okay, so here's the ad.
Nancy Pelosi is sneaking the Green New Deal into the $3.5 trillion budget. And in 2022, I'm going to blow away the Democrats' socialist agenda.
Yeah. So the website she refers to is greengun.com. This is straight up fascist propaganda, and it's potentially an incitement to violence because she's normalizing shooting socialist Priuses, right? I mean, it's not even an analogy. She's shooting a socialist Prius in the car. So we have a ton of examples of fascist propaganda. This is just another example. When you look for examples of the propaganda of fascist Italy leading up to and during the Mussolini era, it's this type of stuff. I'm going to tell you the themes of this is now these are the themes of Italian fascist propaganda, very well known historically. And look at how much it applies to Marjorie Taylor Greene. Number one, personality cults around individuals. This is not Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about policy. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene building a cult of personality around her as a socialist gun toter who blows up socialist Priuses, right? That's what it is. Action over talk as a form of politics was a theme of Italian fascist propaganda. Marjorie Taylor Greene shooting a gun at a socialist car. She's not talking about issues. She's not talking about solving problems like an adult. She's using action over talk as the default of politics. Okay, so now this one, because Marjorie Taylor Greene is a woman, we have to think a little bit differently about this one. But for Mussolini and Italian fascism, fertility and the strength of men was a big thing. This is kind of like a female version of it, although there's not as direct of an analogy of Marjorie Taylor Greene appearing to be more likely to bear children on the basis of shooting guns. But there's also a bit of a masculinization of Marjorie Taylor Greene. So maybe it does actually apply. That's another one. Attacking foreign culture. In Italy, it was Americanism that was attacked. French and Russian literature were attacked, etc. In this case, with Marjorie Taylor Greene, it's the pseudo foreign culture of American socialists. They're not foreigners, but the idea is they aren't like us. They're not really Americans in the mold that we believe Americans should exist. So very similar. And then, of course, Italian fascist propaganda was anti-democratic and it was anti-small L liberalism. Shooting your political opponents is not democratic. This is, again, about firearms as solutions. The use of slogans to cover the violence of what you propose. Okay, that was a common thing. At the 8-second mark in this video, which I will pull up for you, it says, in 2022, I'm going to blow away the Democrats' socialist agenda. And notice she blows up a Toyota Prius, a sort of emblem of what they don't like. Prius, one of the first hybrid vehicles now available as a plug-in car. Even that detail is relevant to the fascistic nature of the propaganda. It's a fight for fossil fuels. No silly hybrids or electric cars. Now, that's the analysis with fascist propaganda from Italy. You could do it with something else altogether, but we've just picked that. And our friend and fellow Argentinian Federico Finkelstein, who is an expert on fascism, actually tweeted in response to this video, Fascist Propaganda 101. We have to be calling this for what it is. Lots of politicians blowing things up Taliban style to make political points about how bad liberals are and how the left has to be punished. And meanwhile, if you propose like a child tax credit, that's called socialist by these very same people. They're disseminating actual fascistic propaganda. But if you want like healthcare for people or a child tax credit or enhanced unemployment, then you are called a socialist. It's really dangerous stuff. And unfortunately, if it's not sort of rooted out, it's going to increasingly become more and more common that we see it. Why? Because they've abandoned policy altogether. Notice that there's no policy there. It's just, we're going to blow away the socialists and block Nancy. How does she pronounce it? Pelosi, etc. They're going to keep doing this type of stuff unless somebody or something stops them, or unless it loses them elections, because they've given up on policy years ago. We've talked about that before.